Hello, and welcome to the Profit by Design podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist and the author of the How to Hire the Best series, as well as the 4-week vacation. Today on the podcast, we have a really fun topic to dive into, and that is, how do you create a great place to work? What really goes in to being an employer of choice where A players want to work for you? And so as we dive into this, if you're watching live, I would love it if you would pop in the chat. What are the first things that come to mind for you in with respect to what's a great place to work? If you were an employee out there in the world looking for a job and you were looking for a great place to work, what would you be looking for? And I want you to kind of start thinking about that, because I think sometimes we business owners overcomplicate creating a great place to work. And it occurred to me that I have some very cool information that would really benefit you as you're thinking about how to attract A players to your team. Because obviously, if you're a great place to work, it's easier to attract A players. And the information that I have is for years at Tap the Potential. We have surveyed the A players in our clients' businesses. And we do that to support the business owner in getting team feedback about their leadership. We also do it to understand more about who the A players are on the team, why they like working for that business, and how they came to learn about the opportunity to work for that business, because it helps the business owners who are our clients be more intentional in how they're attracting A players to their team. Well, one of the questions on this survey is, describe a great place to work. And so I have years and years of A players who are in small businesses describing from their perspective what creates a great place to work. And I've used that information over the years to really support our clients at Tap the Potential in becoming employers of choice and attracting A players to their team. So I thought today it would be really helpful for me to break down for you, what are the common themes? What are they looking for? Because it's a lot easier than you may be thinking it is to be an employer of choice and a great place to work for A players. And I also want you to come away with the understanding that when you're trying to attract A players to your team, the things that are typically publicized when businesses are trying to recruit, they're talking about pay and benefits. These are not the things that A players are saying go into creating a great place to work. I think those are important pieces, but that's not all. And it's a lot of the intangible perks that really make the biggest difference. And so I wanted you to hear that today in a way that would be usable for you. And I also want to let you know that if you want to hire A players and have A players on your team, we have a workshop coming up in May called the 3 Simple Steps to Hiring Your Next A Player. So that's going to be Tuesday, May 7th from 1 to 2:30 Central. Get that on your calendar. It's a free workshop, 3 Simple Steps to Hiring Your Next A Player. And you can get registered at tapthepotential.com/workshop. Okay. So remember, in the chat, keep sharing what comes to mind for you about what creates a great place to work. And then I'm going to share with you what A players are saying in these small businesses about what creates a great place to work. So first off, I want to clarify that a great place to work is not sunshine and roses every day. It's not where everything goes perfect and there's never any mistakes are made. There's never any conflict. That's not a great place to work. And it's also not reality. So I hope you're not striving for that standard, because that's not going to get you the A players that you want. What A players are really looking for in a great place to work is some level of predictability. So if you're a leader who's constantly changing your mind, and we're going in this direction one day and we're going in that direction another day, that's not creating a sense of predictability and safety. So on a very basic level, there needs to be a sense of things are predictable around here. We know what to expect from day to day. When there are a lot of when there's a lot of fires and chaos because you're, as the leader, you are in the survival trap, you're creating a place that's not a predictable place to work. It's not an emotionally safe place to work. And so that's where it's really important, if you are recognizing that, the first thing you want to work on is making sure that you are creating a sense of predictability and putting systems in place in the business, because that does level things out for the A players on your team. A players love systems because when you have too much in your head as a business owner, that leads the A players on your team to feel like they're always having to scramble to figure things out. There's a lot that doesn't get communicated from you to them. And so that undermines that sense of predictability. So predictability is kind of the basic thing that you want to go for. The other basic is making sure that your team members have the tools and resources that they need to do the job that they're being asked to do. And so in a company where someone is always having to do some sort of go around or work around because they don't have what they need, you're really setting an A player up to fail. And so you always want to be checking in with your team members and just checking on that basic question of, do you have the tools and resources that you need to do the job that's being asked of you? Okay, so those are the basic pieces. So now let's talk about some of the higher level pieces that are not hard to implement. Um, Freedom and flexibility comes up over and over in these A player surveys about what creates a great place to work. And that means freedom to choose how to go about getting work done, where their ideas and their input is valued. So this is where you say, here's the result I'm looking for from you. What ideas do you have about the best way to accomplish this? And then you come behind and you provide that guidance and support, but they're really free to figure out the best way to go about doing the job. Yes, there are policies and procedures, standard operating procedures that you want to follow. And you're also open to hearing their ideas for how to do things better. And their ideas are valued and respected. That comes up a lot too. I feel like my ideas are valued and respected. The flexibility piece really gets at that appreciation for them as whole human beings, right? That they have a life away from work, and sometimes things happen in that life away from work. And so they have flexibility. You trust them to get the job done, and they're flexible in how they go about doing it and when they go about doing it. But you know that they're going to get the job done, which is very different from a feeling of being micromanaged, and knowing that if something comes up in your personal life, you're going to have to request time off, give up vacation time. And that is where A players start to get frustrated, because then they feel like they're being micromanaged and they're not being trusted to deliver the results that you've asked from them. The other thing that goes into creating a great place to work is developing your team. And this is on the level of individual development for each team member, where they're having opportunities for growth and advancement, but also on the team, on the scope of the team as a whole, where you're putting attention to helping people want to be a part of the team and putting team members through training together, where a new skill is being learned and they're learning it together and they're figuring out, oh, we could use this way in the business. And that's where they have that freedom to express themselves and express their ideas about how that training and new knowledge is going to be incorporated in the business. So there's always a sense of, we're learning and growing together as a team. This can be so easy to accomplish. You could do a book club. A lot of our clients do this, where once a quarter they have the team members doing a book club, reading a book together, having discussions in the weekly meetings about portions of the book each week as they read along, and talking about how they can use this as a team to be better. So it's that overall team development that's happening. That ties into the leader and the coworkers. So a great place to work for A players is a business that has a good leader and good coworkers. Not a perfect leader and not perfect coworkers, but people who are self-aware, who are curious and aware of your own blind spots, or at least willing to look at your own blind spots and receive feedback around that. So you, as a leader, are you coachable? Because your team members want to work for a leader who's coachable. And that means you're willing to seek out feedback from your team and incorporate their feedback so that you become a better and better leader. But also, are you getting coaching? Are you growing outside of just leading the company? Are you investing in your own personal development? A players know when a business owner is doing this, and they know when a business owner is not doing this. So if you're putting a lot of pressure on your A players to develop themselves, but you're not investing in yourself, they're going to sense that. And a great place to work for an A player is a place where everyone is invested in growing as human beings and being better people together, and respecting that we're all on different journeys. So where you need to grow may be different than where I need to grow, but there's this sense of we're all coachable, we're open to feedback, and we want to grow and improve. And there's a sense of humbleness in that, right? So if you've ever worked in a company where there's a lot of egos and pride and people have to protect their turf, right? There's a lot of drama in those places. And A players don't consider drama to be a great place to work. If there's a lot of drama going on, that's not a great place to work. Most everyone would say they want to work in a drama-free work environment. The challenge is a lot of people are not tuned into their role in contributing to drama. So when you're in a great place to work, team members are wanting feedback. They're willing to be humble and take in feedback, and the business owner is willing to do the same. And that creates a sense, it levels the playing field, and it creates a sense of emotional safety right off the bat, where you know that you can give feedback, and it may be hard for the person receiving it to hear it, but they're not going to beat you up. They're not going to put you down over it. They're wanting this feedback, and they view it as constructive feedback. And so another quality of a great place to work is a leader who's willing to have the tough conversations that are necessary to protect the team environment. And so that means addressing issues with team members when they're violating the immutable laws in the business and not letting things fester, not letting employee problems go on and on. It also means addressing issues with clients and customers who are rude or disrespectful to team members. That assures your team members that you're there to, again, protect their emotional safety, and you're creating a psychologically safe place for them to be. So that emotional safety and respect goes a long way. And the other piece that is subtle, but it's so powerful in creating a great place to work, is the sense of camaraderie. Like, we're in this together. Here's what we're about. Here's what we're trying to accomplish. So there's this coming together around the immutable laws of the business, the core values, like this is who we are, this is how we show up, this is how we do business. And here's what we're trying to accomplish. So there's a mission, there's a vision, and everyone's working together to create that. And so I want to share with you, I've just pulled some statements from these key team member surveys when I'm asking A players about what describe a great place to work. Here are direct quotes from A players about a great place to work. It's a place that has a clear direction, a mission statement for the company. There are interesting projects to work on, in a team of clever, interesting, kind-hearted individuals. Another A player said, it's where you laugh together, maybe at times even cry together. You feel creatively on fire together. You share high fives and enjoy meaningful relationships. Another A player said a great place to work is a fun, flexible, supportive environment that respects my skills and abilities. Another A player said it's a place where there's positive energy, a feeling of appreciation, and just good people to work with. So again, do you see where the energy that's there, that sense of emotional safety, that sense of we're all in this together comes through in what these A players are describing about a great place to work? Another one said it's a supportive, friendly environment with flexibility and structure. So there's an overall sense of structure. We know what's expected. There are policies and procedures, and yet there's a feeling of flexibility that if things need to be adapted or adjusted to, there's room to do that. Um, Communication is another key to creating a great place to work. Having open communication is a top priority, where leadership is involved and engaged in decisions that are being made, and decisions that are made, whether at the ground level or through leadership meetings, are then shared with the rest of the team members. So nobody feels like they're in a silo or kept in the dark. And I think one of the easiest ways to create this is to ensure that each of your team members is having a one-to-one with their supervisor either every week or every other week. And in that one-to-one, there's a sharing of communication about leadership decisions that have been made that may or may not impact that particular team member. Definitely the ones that impact the team member need to be discussed in detail, but also other decisions that are made company-wide get conveyed in that one-to-one. So there's this feeling of, I know it, I understand what's going on in the greater picture of the business, regardless of what my role is in the company. It's a bad feeling as a team member when a decision on strategy, for example, has been made in the leadership team, and that has not been conveyed to the team member who's on the ground level executing and carrying things out, because they can be blindsided by client or customer questions. They could be blindsided by something a team member is bringing up. And so when you have this intentional type of communication that's happening, it just again, it furthers that emotional safety for all team members. Um, and then I want to talk about the opportunities for growth and advancement, because this is an area where it's so valued by A players when they're on a team that puts attention to their individual growth and opportunities for advancement. Not every A player wants to have a bigger and bigger title and a bigger and bigger raise. Sometimes A players are really interested in just learning new skills and bettering themselves as human beings. And so there's lots of opportunities for you to have A players on your team who may never advance up the accountability chart or the role chart, because they're not interested in leading and managing people. That's not where their preferences lie. And at the same time, they need that feeling of continuing to grow and that sense of mastery and improving themselves. And so this is where I find it so valuable to have a specific development plan for each of your team members, and looking at where do they want to grow? What ideas and opportunities excite them? What trainings would excite them? What areas of personal development would they like to explore? And we use our A player development tracker on the Tap the Potential team to track this. And one of the challenges with A players that you'll probably run into is that they are go-getters and they're really motivated. So they're going to come across all kinds of trainings and opportunities and bring them back to you. And you and that A player and the leadership team have to make decisions about when does it make the most sense to do what training. You can't do them all at once. There may not be budget for that. And so when you use the A player development tracker, you can tie that into their career goals, and you can identify, which quarter the different trainings are going to happen. And so there's an overall sense of there's a cohesive plan here for developing this team member. And so if you want to download our A player development tracker, it's totally free. You can get it at tapthepotential.com/A player. There's a mini course that accompanies that. That's also free. And it's a really fun tool for you to start utilizing with your A players. And the biggest benefit is when you introduce this to your A players, they immediately feel like, wow, you really care about them. You're really invested in them as human beings. And that for them creates that feeling of, I have a great place to work where people care about me as a person. So, I've gone through with you some of the key ingredients to creating a great place to work. And I hope it's inspiring you because the main message I want you to take away from this today is it's not hard to create a great place to work. When you're working on yourself as a leader and you are sincere in wanting to create to be an employer of choice for the A players that you want to attract, the thing that goes the furthest is your intentionality, your intention to learn and understand about what goes into creating a great place to work. And when you are creating a great place to work, you don't have to be perfect. You can mess up as a leader and you can own it, right? You can go to your team and say, "Hey, I really messed up over here, and I'm in coaching, and I'm working on myself to become a better leader because it's important to me that we have a great place to work." And I think one of the things that is so valuable about that intentionality around creating a great place to work is you will start to put more attention on these key areas that matter to A players. And when you're doing that, you're setting yourself up to be an employer of choice. At Tap the Potential, we offer the How to Hire the Best course. It's broken down into 5 modules. You could go through it in 5 weeks if you wanted to, but it's a self-paced course. And every time you complete a module, there are move forward action steps. And those move forward action steps help you to, number one, build your A player attraction system into your business. And you earn points for completing those action steps to becoming an employer of choice and to be featured in our Great Place to Work spotlight. So the things that you are doing in the How to Hire the Best course are you being more intentional to highlight how you're already being a great place to work for the A players that you have on your team and for the A players that you want to attract. And that's really the key here is it is your hiring is going to be easier. You're going to attract better and better people to your team when you're putting that focus on being an employer of choice for the A players that you want to attract to your team. So if you want to dive more into this, sign up for the workshop that we've got coming up in on May 7th, the 3 simple steps to hiring your next A player. And I'll go through those steps with you, and I'll also share more with you about the How to Hire the Best course. Or you're free to go look at the How to Hire the Best course. You can go to tapthepotential.com/course. And we'd love to see you at the workshop and in the course. Thanks for spending time with me today. Bye for now.